Hey, sports card fans, it's John, Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. It's time for another PSA Vintage Baseball Card Sales on eBay. This time we're looking at sales for November 2022. As always, I'll be breaking this top 10 list down to top 10 cards from the 1950s, 60s, and 1970s. Now, typically, the top 10 list from the 1950s features Mickey Mantle pretty prominently. Not so much this month. However, Mickey Mantle makes several appearances in the cards from the 1960s. And for the first time in as long as I can remember, the top 10 list from the 1960s does not include a 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan rookie card. For the 1970s, we've been seeing some common cards in very high grade, low population make the top 10 list. Not this month. This month's top 10 list from the 1970s includes all Hall of Famers and some interesting cards on that list. So let's get right to it. All right, starting off with the top 10 from the 1950s. At number 10, we have this 1954 Topps Ted Williams in a PSA 9 off center. This sold on November 30th for $12,555. It was a best offer. Now, the VCP average price is $3,600. This sale did not get into VCP's database. That $3,600 sale took place in November of 2021. So 1 year ago, a PSA 9 off-center sold for $3,600, and now one sold for $12,555. The pop report for a PSA 9 off-center is only 5. All right, number 9, we have the 1954 Topps Hank Aaron rookie card in a PSA 7. Really nice copy there. This sold on November 29th for $13,099. It was an auction, 43 bids. The average VCP price is $16,392. So this sold for about $3,000 less than the VCP average. And number 8, we have this gorgeous 1953 Topps Satchel Paige in a PSA 8. Just a gorgeous card. This sold on November 13th for $14,250. It was a buy it now price, and the VCP average is just over $15,000. So the buyer got a pretty good deal based on the VCP average price for that Satchel Paige in a PSA 8. And number 7, we have a gorgeous 52 Topps Jackie Robinson in a very respectable PSA 4.5. It is off-center, top to bottom, left to right. There is around his chin, there is a little bit of surface scratching, but that red background is nice and bold. Such an iconic card for Jackie Robinson. This one sold on November 25th for $14,750. It was a best offer, and the VCP average price is actually $18,000. Now, this is a half grade, so I'm not sure how many copies exist or how often the 4.5 grade copies sell. So that $18,000 average may be a little bit dated, but currently it's sold for just under $15,000. Number 6, we have another 1954 Topps Hank Aaron rookie card, again in a PSA 7. This one sold on November 28th for $15,100. This one was an auction, 51 bids, and again, the winning bidder bought it for below the VCP average price of a little over $16,000. All right, number 5, the first appearance of a Mickey Mantle. This is his 51 Bowman rookie card in a PSA 3. Actually, not bad copy for a PSA 3. There is a little bit of marking there on that left border. It is a little off center, top to bottom, left to right, but otherwise looks like a very nice, clean copy for a PSA 3. This sold on November 27th for $15,107.07. It was an auction, 39 bids. The VCP average price for a PSA 3 mantle is just over $17,000. So again, selling for a little bit below the VCP average price for some of these vintage cards from the 50s. Number 4, we have the 1955 Topps Roberto Clemente rookie card in a very nice PSA 7. This sold on November 17th for $15,300. It was an auction, 56 bids. Again, sold for less than the VCP average price of $17,267. But really nice example of that Clemente rookie. Coming in at number 3, we have the second 51 Bowman Mickey Mantle. This one in a PSA 4. This one has almost the opposite off-centering, top to bottom, left to right. But again, a really nice, clean copy of that Mantle rookie card. This sold on November 17th for $23,750. It was a best offer. This time, this copy sold above the VCP average price for a PSA 4 of $19,028. At number 2, we have the 56 Topps Sandy Koufax rookie card in a sweet PSA 8. It does look like there's some off-centering, maybe left to right, but overall, generally really nice example of that Sandy Koufax rookie card. This sold on November 1st for $25,000. It was a buy it now, but again, below the VCP average price of $30,462. And finally, the number 1 card from the 1950s for November is, of course, yes, a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. Pretty much every top 10 list, there always seems to be one copy of his 52 Topps Mickey Mantle that sells on eBay. This is a very nice, actually, PSA 3. You do have some issues there at the top of the card near the border. There's some yellowing a little bit. Yeah, it is off center, but overall, nice, clean. It doesn't appear to be any creases in the card. So for a PSA 3, that's a really nice example. And you can tell when this sold on November 18th, it sold for $85,500. It was a buy it now, well above the VCP average price for a PSA 3 of $68,303. So again, I appeal, especially for some of these lower grade vintage cards, whether it be centering, lack of creases, the registry, whatever, can sometimes command a premium, and it looks like it did so in this case. All right, on to the top 10 cards from the 1960s. Coming in at number 10, we have the 1964 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. This sold on November 21st for $3,902. It was an auction, 32 bids. Does look like a nice copy there for PSA 8. It is in a relatively old PSA holder. It did sell for less than the VCP average price of $4,306. At number 9, we have another 64 Topps Mickey Mantle, PSA 8, older slab, sold on November 11th for $4,205.55. Another auction, 35 bids. VCP average price again, $43.06. So we have 2 copies of the 64 Mantle in a PSA 8, both of them selling below the current VCP average price. At number 8, what I think is one of the nicest cards from the 1960s, the 1964 Topps Pete Rose in a gorgeous looking PSA 8. This sold on November 28th for $4,240. It was an auction, 26 bids. The VCP average price is $4,070, so this sold for about $200 over the VCP average. At number 7, another Mickey Mantle, a 1965 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. Really nice centering on that. Maybe just some issues with the corners, possibly a little bit of surface issues. But this one sold on November 21st for $4,300.10. It was an auction, 34 bids, and again below the VCP average price of $5,039. At number 6, we have the Tom Seaver rookie card from 1967 in a PSA 8. That's one sharp-looking card. You do have a couple fisheyes there in that black area, very minimal. The centering may be slightly off, but that looks like one sharp card there for Tom Seaver's rookie card. This one sold on November 20th for $4,310. It was an auction, 26 bids, sold right around the VCP average price of $4,360. At number 5, 1967 Roberto Clemente in a PSA 9. This sold on November 13th for $4,551. It was an auction, 23 bids, right around, even though it was just under, actually, the VCP average price of $4,887. By the way, in a PSA 9, there are actually 97 copies in a PSA 9. I was a little surprised to see the population that high, although generally looking at 67 cards graded by PSA 9, for whatever reason, there seems to be a good number of 67 tops that still grade fairly high, or that survived in a pretty good grade. Not sure why 67 may be special, but there are 2 PSA 10s. All right, at number 4, another 64 Topps Pete Rose, also in a PSA 8. The only thing I can see wrong with that, again, just one small little fisheye print mark there. But this one sold on November 14th. It was an auction. Final sale price was $5,351.51. 30 bids. VCP average price, again, $4,070. So this one sold well above the VCP average price, while the other one not so much. So interesting there with those 2 64 Topps PSA 8 examples of the Pete Rose. All right, at number 3, another Mickey Mantle. This is his 1961 Topps in a PSA 8. Really nice copy there, maybe off center, a little top to bottom, it looks like. And in 61, you get a lot of these right near some of the black border there. You get, I don't know if you can see it, some of the little fisheyes there, fairly prominent for some reason with the 61 Topps cards. But this one sold on November 2nd for $6,850. It was a best offer and actually sold for above VCP average price of $6,310. All right, on to number 2. We have another Mickey Mantle, the 63 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. The only thing I can see wrong with this is the centering, left to right, possibly a little bit top to bottom, but otherwise a gorgeous example of that 63 Topps. This one sold on November 21st for $7,200. It was an auction, 27 bids, sold above the VCP average price of $6,391. All right, the number 1 card for the 1960s in November is another 63 Topps. It's the Hank Aaron in a PSA 9. Gorgeous card. Just love the colors of the card. You have, I don't know, there's something about the colors of his uniform and what may not be, you may not think is a complementary color, but that green bottom border and the orange in the circle, to me, just everything works with this card. Gorgeous card of Hank Aaron. This sold on November 16th for $16,000. It was a best offer. VCP average price is $6,600. Now, this sale, being in November 18th and a best offer, did not make the VCP data. The last one sold for $6,600, sold in June of 2020. So about year and a half, 2 years, well, actually 2.5 years now. The last one sold in a PSA 9, and you can see the jump up in price there by just under $10,000. By the way, in a PSA 9, there are 36 cards graded at that level, and there is one PSA 10. All right, on to the top 10 list from the 1970s. Starting off at number 10, we have the 1975 Topps Mini Robin Yount rookie card in a PSA 9. Maybe a little bit off-center left to right, but otherwise a perfect looking card there. This one sold on November 15th for $2,450. It was a buy it now, just slightly under the VCP average price of $2,605. In a PSA 9, there are 80 copies and there are 10 PSA 10s. Coming in at number 9, we have the 78 Topps Nolan Ryan in a PSA 9. One of my favorite Nolan Ryan cards, of course, 1978 is my favorite set, so that helps as well. But just love that image there of Nolan Ryan. This sold on November 16th for $2,500. There's a best offer, almost spot on the VCP average price of $2,509. There are actually 127 copies in a PSA 9 and 3 PSA 10s. At number 8, we have probably my second nicest looking Nolan Ryan, in my opinion. Some of you probably think this is the nicest looking Nolan Ryan. It's 1972 Topps. This one also in a PSA 9, sold on November 19th for $2,631.11. Believe it or not, normally when you get a winning bid like that, it's an auction, but this was a buy it now. Interesting listing price there. The VCP average price is $3,042, so this sold below the average price. So for this 72 Ryan, there are 189 PSA 9s and 9 PSA 10s. All right, at number 7, we have another 75 Topps Mini Robin Yount rookie card in a PSA 9. This one sold on November 5th for $2,750. Best offer above about $150 roughly over the VCP average price again of $2,605. At number 6, we have another Nolan Ryan. 1973 Topps Nolan Ryan, again in a PSA 9. Now, what's interesting here is, looks like now the card in the holder is a bit on an angle there, but it looks like there's a little bit of a diamond centering. If you look at the border there, that may be the only thing that is preventing this card from being a 10. I don't know how much that diamond centering affected the grade, but obviously it's not a perfect card with that slightly off-center centering, but a great card of Nolan Ryan there. Sold on November 15th for $2,800. It was a best offer, about $200 below the VCP average price of $2,999. In a PSA 9, there are 137 copies, and there are 6 PSA 10s. At number 5, we have the 1970 Topps Thurman Munson rookie card in a PSA 9. Man, looking at this card, you do notice, if you're familiar with Thurman Munson's rookie card, very often you'll see an example right there above Thurman Munson, a little white dot, and sometimes down near Dave McDonald there's another white dot. Seems to be fairly prevalent in at least the Thurman Munson and or Dave McDonald area, in that black area. That, I don't know if that affected it not being a 10, but that is one sharp looking Munson rookie card. This sold on November 30th for $3,000. It was a best offer, about $5,500 above the VCP average price of $2,441. In a PSA 9, there are 87 copies, and there are 4 PSA 10s. At number 4, we have the 1975 O-Pee-Chee Hank Aaron, number 660 in a PSA 9. Great looking card there. Sold on November 7th for $3,499. This was a buy it now. And you notice the VCP average price is $3,499. That's because VCP took this card, had this card in their data set. The last card in a PSA 9 sold in February of 2020 for $2,000. So not too bad of an appreciation in about just under 3 years. All right, number 3. We have the 1979 Topps Mike Schmidt in a Gem Mint PSA 10. This sold on November 13th for $3,500. This was a buy it now. The VCP average price, $1,849. There are 44 copies in a PSA 10. At number 2, we have the 1970 Topps Johnny Bench in a PSA 9. If you notice down the bottom, there's a white sort of print line. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be just the slight top of the card on the sheet below it, but other than that, that may have prevented this card from being a PSA 10. Just a gorgeous all-star card of Johnny Bench from 70 Topps. This sold on November 9th for $4,657. It was an auction, 34 bids, although it sold way below the VCP average price of $9,952. There are 12 copies of this card in a PSA 9, but no PSA 10. So this is the highest graded copy of the 70 Bench All-Star card, but sold for about half the average price. And finally, at number 1 for the 1970s, we have the 1974 Topps Rod Carew in a Gem Mint PSA 10. Gorgeous looking card there of him in the batting, taking batting practice before the game. This sold on November 29th for $5,400. It was an auction, 23 bids. The VCP average price, just over $2,200, so it doubled in price. The last PSA 10 sold in May of 2021, again for $2,214. Not too many of these sold. There were only 7 PSA copies of the 74 Topps Rod Carew. So there you have it, the top 10 lists from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Sales on eBay for the month of November. Would love to know your thoughts on which cards made the top 10 lists. Again, interesting that not so many mantles from the 1950s made it, more from the 1960s. No Nolan Ryan rookie card, and some interesting cards from the 1970s. That's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.